Welcome to Legal and Wealthy, the podcast for lawyers who are ready to stop playing small and start building true wealth and a career and life of their dreams, powerfully and purposefully. Whether you're a law student, new associate, or seasoned attorney, this show is for those who are ready to take charge of their law career in a new way. I'm your host, Lauren Klein, attorney, law firm owner, professor, and founder of Legal and Wealthy. Here, we don't just practice law, we practice liberation and becoming wealthy attorneys. Because being a great lawyer shouldn't come at the cost of your time, your peace, or your financial freedom. Every week, you'll get the strategy, mindset, and wealth building guidance that law school never gave you. So you can go from just surviving your career to building a legacy through it. Let's get to work. Welcome to another episode of Legal and Wealthy, the place for lawyers and law students who are ready to bring together mindfulness, wealth, and living a legal career of their dreams. I'm so excited to be sitting down today with Heather Quick. Heather, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me today.
I'm so happy to have you. Heather is the founder and CEO of Florida Women's Law Group, a lawyer, a yogi, an author, a podcaster, and so much more. So let's kick it off, Heather. Let's kick it off. You have built a truly incredible career serving women in the legal space with everything that you're doing, starting out as a prosecutor, and we're going to hear your story, to founder of your own incredibly successful firm. What inspired you to create Florida Women's Law Group?
So it was not necessarily a direct path, and it was not, just for your listeners, it's not like that is what I had in my dreams, like that's what I'm going to do. However, this is what I'm meant to do. So it's kind of interesting how it finds you when you really went through working through it and determining that I did want to do something meaningful for myself, and that means something to me, right? We can all have a job. We can all start a business, and it doesn't have to mean something to you, but I think that's where I get a lot of fulfillment, because it really does mean something to me, and then it helps me hire people because I want people that it means something to them, and I think I feel that our clients know, like, this is important to us. I'm not just a lawyer here going to separate you from your marriage. It means something to us that you are better off after we have helped you. So it started, I honestly, when I went to law school, I was super pumped about being a trial lawyer and a criminal prosecutor. I really did not fathom there are people who do transactional work, who don't want to talk in front of people, and who don't want to be in a courtroom. Like, that just kind of blew me away. I did think I wanted to be in the FBI, and that is because my grandfather was a lawyer, FBI, and then a judge. And my uncle, a lawyer, prosecutor, and then, had a very successful firm. So in my mind, from that, right, I was like, this is what I have to do, which is what my uncle told me. And it was very helpful. It wasn't, for the long term as far as the prosecutor, but I loved it. It was so worth the time I spent, because I just love the courtroom. I love evidence. And I do like criminal law, but from a prosecutor standpoint. So when it came time to start my own firm, I think what we see a lot is, you go into criminal defense because you were a prosecutor. And that didn't fit me, right? That was not something that was fulfilling to me at all, because I didn't believe in it, right? I'm not for the lawyers, I'm not a true believer. Like, I love the Constitution, all that, but like, that doesn't fire me up at night to hold the government to their burden and get somebody off. Like, but I'm so glad that there are people it does, right? And when you recognize there are people who, like, that fuels them, which is awesome. Right? Yeah. But it wasn't me. So that felt a little inauthentic. A lot inauthentic. And as I started to get family law cases, I realized I couldn't do both, right? The Florida Law Weekly cases are coming out, like I swear 5 times a week. And there's no way I, as a single, could keep up with the changes in criminal law as well as family law. So I recognize that, right? And if I'm not going to do it in excellence, then I'm not doing it. It's too important what we're doing. So I got to the point that I was like, I need to pick one, and I'm going to pick family law because that speaks to me more. And I realized I can truly make a difference in someone's life as their lawyer in a divorce. They can't do it themselves successfully, right? Oftentimes in criminal, you get, a public defender. There are options, or it's a low level. The prosecutor's going to deal with you. So I just didn't feel the value of what I could bring, and it just didn't feel authentic to me. So that's where the draw to family law was. And what I also realized is that my life experience gave me a very unique perspective for our clients. Both of my parents were divorced when I was young, and they have both been married to other people. They didn't remarry one another, but they've both been married and subsequently divorced at least 3 times each. So I had a front row seat to divorce, and as a child and even as a young adult, and I watched what they went through, particularly my mother. And that's when I was like, man, all these women, it's the same thing, right? They don't value what they brought to the table. They're giving up too soon. And it was an epiphany. Like, that's who I want to help. That is who I want to help. And I think that's what's amazing about being an entrepreneur in your business. You can pick. You can pick. Like, I don't want to help everybody. Like, I say that. You can judge me, whatever. I don't. This is who I want to help. I want to help women going through divorce. And that is really how it all came to fruition.
That's amazing. And I love that you talked about fulfillment, because I think sometimes when law students start out, they're like, I want to be fulfilled. That's what I want. And then maybe slowly a professor says that's not possible, or they're interning somewhere and they're like, well, I'll make a lot of money if I switch to this area of law, even though it's not what I'm interested in. So it's incredible to see that you can choose something that fulfills you and be successful at the same time. So I think that's an incredible message. And I'd be curious to hear, watching your parents' divorces, did you notice a difference kind of in how your dad was represented by his attorneys and your mom was represented by hers?
When I was younger, I didn't understand that as much. What I understood but where I think I have just so much, I understand people. They do the same stuff. Men do the same thing all the time. I'm telling you. So for the men listening, you're so predictable. And women are a little bit too, but men really are. And my father followed the stereotypical divorce, remarry, she's got kids. Now we're a big happy family, take the kids to Disney World all the time, right? And but what I did see, I saw where my mother, because I was closer with her, I'm close with my dad, but like during those times, right? And I was older.
Right.
So when she got her second divorce, I saw that she was just ready to be away. She was, and many women feel this, I just want out. They did not share children together. But they hadn't been married a full 10 years, but she had been very supportive and helped him. But she, I know, left and settled for far less than probably she could have. But she was nervous, scared. He was the typical narcissist, surgeon, just, she was afraid. And it didn't feel like she deserved it. And then, the next marriage, she stood up for herself and she hired a female attorney who was like, no, girl, we got this. And so she ended up with a much better settlement at the end. And that was really cool for me. And she felt it. She was like, no, I've hired this person. Now, I was in law school, I think. I don't know if I had graduated when she went through that. So it was very interesting for me to see that and how that made a difference for her.
Yeah.
Right? She went and hired a high-powered, smart attorney, and that attorney was willing to achieve the goals that she wanted and not afraid to be like, okay, let's challenge this prenup. let's do
Yeah, I
this.
mean, listen, it's one of the hardest periods in someone's life that they will ever go through. Going through a divorce. It's like you said, it's incredibly emotional. There's a lot going on. And so I would imagine that having an advocate who is like, "Hey, here's your rights. Here's what I think you should fight for if you're up to it, and I will support you in that process." I can imagine that that's very calming and grounding for someone who's kind of in that, your mind is just in a million different directions and you maybe don't feel like yourself, or you don't feel like fighting. Yeah.
You
That's
don't,
really cool.
and you get overwhelmed, and
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
are, particularly for women going through divorce, this is their life. It's everybody's life, but it's harder for women in my experience, what I found is to compartmentalize that. Right? Oh,
Mm,
I can just separate the children, the life we've shared from the money. No, it's all together. So
yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's where, right, you need somebody who can say, okay, I can do what needs to be done for you. Right? You
Yeah.
just got to listen. You've got to tell me where you want to be, right? But then listen and be, part of it, but
Yeah.
allow your attorney to advocate for you and, take you down the road that leads you to the most, the best chances of success based on really where you want to end up.
Yeah. Yeah. And for those who are listening, especially those who are in law school or maybe wanting to switch into family law is much more than divorce, right? There's so many other aspects. What other areas do you focus on at Florida Women's Law Group?
So the divorce is the main thing, absolutely. However, there are a lot of attorney cases. Many folks have children without getting married. So those are similar but yet very different because there's really not the financials. So those have their own challenges. There also, we do represent a lot of women who are seeking injunctions for protection against domestic violence. That, some people think that's criminal, but it is civil. Sometimes it goes a little bit in criminal, but those tend to
Right.
be tied to divorce. So we do that. And then there are things like contempt. There are modifications of your existing orders. And that's really the most of what we do. I would say, there are attorneys who handle dependency, and that's really in and of itself its own thing. It does
Mm,
fall under family law, but it is not something that we do. And I find many firms or attorneys that handle that is more exclusively what they do because it's so different. But
yeah.
that's the general gist of what we do.
Yeah. And I thank you for that. And I'd be curious to hear because when one is going through a divorce, money, the wealth, the assets are often a big piece of it.
Yes.
What do you think, because you're representing women, how have you kind of noticed that your clients tend to approach the conversation of money? And I'm assuming it's different depending on whether they were, the one who was really earning in the family, or if it was equal, or if someone was maybe staying at home or taking a step back. What do you see as kind of like the common themes when you have to talk about money? What do you see when you have these conversations?
It depends on the person, obviously, and it does also look at, are they showing up more as a victim or not? And that
Mm,
can sound really harsh, but it's true. And
yeah.
that's something that we then have to, deal with because then oftentimes they're like, well, why me? Why this? I didn't know about the finance. Okay, but this is what they are. And now we have to provide you with the reality of your situation in the law. And that can be really hard for many people because I think, I really do believe a lot in personal responsibility, and we get what we want. We may say we don't, but we didn't want to know about the finances, and I didn't want to know about the good, the bad, and all that, so I didn't. But now I want everything, and
Yeah.
I don't want my life to change financially. That doesn't ever really happen, and because it's reality. And also I do think what can be difficult for within those conversations are that there's not enough. One, maybe it's the law doesn't support that he's going to take care of 100% of you financially. that can be hard to hear. The laws have changed dramatically in Florida
Wow.
over, about a couple of years ago. So that's hard to hear. And that's why I believe very strongly in really trying to educate many young women or even if you're married, it's like you don't, what happens if he dies or divorced? Sometimes you might be in the same boat, whatever. And, a man is not a financial plan. And I know you guys made some decisions in your marriage together, but listen, when that marriage is done, you're on your own pretty much. And I think if you approach it from that, you're not as blindsided, right? Because now we've got one salary and you're not going to get half of it. It's really sometimes shocking to a lot of women. And, I've got daughters that are in their 20s, and it's important, they know how I feel. Like, I get it. You think you just want to, be a stay-at-home mom, play tennis, or do all this other stuff, which is a lot of work, taking care of children. And it's not a one-person job, but that doesn't translate well into real life. So those are just really hard conversations that do have to do with the law, because that's the state of Florida, and our law, and we look at your financial situation. And many times, and that's why I started with that victim, many times women are just really upset. And not surprisingly, they take it out on us and they're angry with us. It's like, I didn't marry him. I had nothing to do with what went on in all those years you've been married. And now you want us to fix it. And we can't do that. We can provide you your freedom, and you are a smart, capable person that I fully really support and hope that you will find fulfillment for yourself in something that you give to the world, and that then hopefully earns you money. And those are sometimes the hardest conversations, because and then even on the other end, when there's plenty of assets and everything, but it's still not going to be the same lifestyle. And now maybe you didn't manage it and you didn't have to pay attention to the budget, but now you do. And many women resent that. And but think of that, like, because really money is freedom. It is. And that's why, when you have the wherewithal to know I'm going to be okay, I think you can show up in a relationship a lot better, because you have that freedom to know, like, I am going to be okay financially on my own. And, so those are big obstacles that we sometimes face with women, because that's scary for them. And I recognize it.
Yeah. This episode of Legal and Wealthy is brought to you by Law Firm Sites. Law Firm Sites has been building custom websites and providing online marketing for law firms for over 23 years. They are good at what they do because that's all that they do. If you are looking to expand the reach of your firm or just improve your online presence, Law Firm Sites has the team to do it. Go to lawfirmsites.com or call 1-800-932-8242 and mention Legal and Wealthy to receive 10% off any of their website or marketing packages.
Yeah, super scary. And, you know, it's a lifetime sometimes of decisions that you now have to work through with what you have. Yeah, it's tough. I've always tip my hat to family law attorneys, because there's just so much. There's so much, and it's one of the hardest, times in your clients' lives. I'd love to hear, because you're working with these women going through these, difficult times and then coming out on the other end. What stories or what have you learned about resilience from your clients over the years?
I have learned so much, and it inspires me so often, because I've learned that when they are faced with a situation and they know things are going to change, how well they adapt and can really thrive when they're given that opportunity. So many women don't feel they have the freedom within their marriage to be who they want to be, to express themselves and take care of themselves, even in, that they have to take care of everybody else, and the husband doesn't allow for them to have their own self-care, which is just like exercising, walking, right? Just so what I see is women are able to be like, oh, now I can run my household, and it may be smaller, but it's okay, and my children, and I can have peace and freedom to do it the way I want. And they start businesses, they go back to school, they really appreciate the peacefulness in which they live in. And it's great. And I watch them, and it's inspiring. And whether they have education or not, whether they have the background and things, they can come up with so many things and be so creative and resilient and feel free and powerful. I love it. I am just amazed at what they can overcome and how they can leave behind the parts of themselves that weren't serving them in that marriage and create that new reality. And that's so inspiring. I mean, it's so inspiring.
Really inspiring. And I'm sure while the divorce is, kind of happening, it's tough, but I'm sure that's so cool to see on the other side, kind of rising from the ashes of this situation to, hey, I get to go be who I want to be now. Yeah. And I don't know if you can put a price tag on that. I really don't think you can.
I don't. And human beings are fascinating. I really love people. I love what they are able to do and what they can accomplish when they, really focus. And, we're complex. We have so many emotions. We just got a lot going on. We all do. But yet, that's what makes it so interesting because, yes, our laws are the same. But what makes family laws is the families are different. The facts are different. And how can we creatively help you achieve what you want to do so that you can be more in the world, right? That makes everybody better when we're really recognizing our full potential. And I think we're better humans, we're better parents, and we are better partners when we do that. And it's very inspiring to see how, think about women who come, because there may be some who come into our office and they want this, and there are some who don't, but yet they are able to move through it and be like, oh, wow, I am better, right? This person doesn't want to be with me anymore, so guess what? I'm going to be who I want to be.
Yeah,
because
good riddance.
That's hard to hear, right? That's hard to hear. They don't want me anymore.
Yeah.
It's easier when you think it's you, when you get to make that decision, but I think what they find is, gosh, I didn't want to be with me. I didn't really want to be that person I was showing up there, and now I can be so much more. And that's not easy, but it's worth it when they can get that journey. And that is inspiring to watch.
I really love that. And I've never really heard a family law attorney talk about kind of like the other side of divorce in this way. So I love that. I love that. It's really, really, really cool.
Well, and it is we're in a relationship business, meaning these are humans. We have relationships with them. And I feel like the area I live in is small. I mean, there are people like that I represented over 20 years ago. And you see them, and it's just really cool. They don't like turn their head and be like, oh, I never want to talk to you again. That was the worst experience of my life. Like, it's fun for me to see, like, look at how great your life is now. Right? Yeah. Like that to me is like, wow, that's wonderful because your life is greater, your children's lives are greater and their kids, like you're just changing that trajectory and that story rather than being someplace and showing up so unhappy and so undervalued. Like it's just really cool. It's really cool. And we have clients that then get married. And I'm like, that's so exciting. Remarried somebody else and they have such a better relationship. That's exciting, to see them continue on in their life. So I have always loved it. I think it can be a great positive thing, and not every situation ends up like that. And hey, not all our clients and us are happy with one another at the end, right? I'm not trying to paint an unrealistic picture, but generally,
of course,
overall, it is. And
Yeah.
I think as a lawyer, like what I love, what matters to me is, and through our firm, we are able to do for our clients what they could not do on their own. That's
Yeah.
important, right? We are able to get them through this, and without us, they would not have. And most of the times, I
Yeah.
believe with another attorney, they wouldn't have been able to do it as well, right? So.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, your passion and your love for what you do really does shine through. It truly does. I'd love to take it back kind of back to your firm at the beginning, because we have a lot of listeners who are either thinking about starting their own law firms, or they've already taken the plunge and they're in it, just like I'm in it. We're about to hit year 3 with our firm, so we're still a startup. I'd love to hear in the beginning, what were some of the biggest challenges that you faced, and how did you overcome them in building a law firm? Because we don't really, oftentimes when we go to law school, we don't think about entrepreneurship and building a business, which is what a law firm is.
Yes. So most of it was, and I will tell you, and I know I've heard, on your show interviewing other guests, and a lot of times it happens this way. It's your life circumstances kind of
Yeah.
prompt you to take that road, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that was the way it was with me. That is not what I had envisioned. Like, oh, I'm always going to start my own. Like, it wasn't in my consciousness. That's all. It just wasn't. And then it was really due to the economy. My husband is a builder, contractor, and he had some health issues, and then the big bubble burst. So. So I had to go put all that money I invested in his brain to do something better. At the time, I was teaching. I wasn't making any money. That was like covering childcare. So we had three small children. He really encouraged me because like nobody was hiring. Like I'll tell you, that was my first thing. Let me go to the old firm, right? Because that seems safe.
Yeah.
That always seems safe. But really, what's the safest is to be in control of your destiny, right? And so. I invested in business coaching. I absolutely did from day one. That helped me so much. I did not know anything. I didn't know anything. I didn't know about sales. I didn't know about marketing. I had learned a little, like with my uncle, like, trust accounting, but like you got to learn all that. You need to understand how to do it. So I invested in that the very beginning because it's a lot. And I had and still have a very supportive husband. And I won't say I did it perfect because I did work a lot. And what I found was, I'm really good at marketing. I'm out there meeting people, doing all this stuff. And then it was like, oh my gosh, well, when am I going to do all this legal work that I now have coming? So that was on the weekends. A lot of times I was like, take the kids, go to your mom so I can just work all day Saturday and Sunday and get the work done. So that's where I was slow to hire people to help because I was nervous. I was scared, right? I think that's what always stops a lot of us. Fear. How am I going to pay for somebody in that responsibility? But again, do the coaching, and you got to take a step, and you got to keep moving. And some people don't work out, and then some people do. And as I was building the business, I was like, I like this. I like the getting to know people and getting referrals and doing that and having the work come in. And I like designate. Like now at first, I didn't know I was going to represent women only. So it was, men and women, which then helped me realize, I don't think, I want to do that anymore. And it's funny because, the judges in our area, I had a couple who were like, Heather, I know what case turned you to only represent women, and it was fun. I allowed them to think that.
That's a story for cocktails.
That's a cocktail story. However, they were always, intrigued by that. But it allowed, that gave me the idea, now I can really have a point of view and speak to women and not both sides of that and have a direct way. So, in the building of it, it did give me freedom. And it still did. And you know what? It gave me freedom even in the very busy days when I didn't have a lot of staff. I did have some, but you have court. It did give me the freedom to be like, I'm going on this field trip today. Now, I may need to wake up at 4 a.m. and get this stuff done or work late, but that is freedom to do it when you want. And that's huge as a mom, right? As we are going through all this, we want to be there for everything. And I couldn't always, but pretty much like I got a lot of, now had to trade it off a little. And as I grew it and got more staff, I did get more freedom. And I will tell you, for all you ladies out there, we want to be there. I mean, and I was there when they're super little and in school and young, but let me tell you, when they're teenagers, don't take your eye off the ball. So then they're like, why are you always here? Why are you always working from home? I was like, yeah, because I got to keep an eye on things going on.
I'm not ready. I'm not ready for that phase.
Well, it comes, whether you're ready or not. But I have successfully made it through 2, pretty much. I got 1 left, but he's the boy. So, but yeah,
I'll be calling you. I'll be calling you.
And because we're all doing the best that we can. And I also feel like working and doing that. And I remember my oldest, I think she was in 4th grade. And she didn't like it, right? Like, because I would go to, education seminars and it was just, and Mom, like, when are you going to not have to work that hard? And in the beginning, I'm not going to sugarcoat it, right? I didn't have like a wand and hire everybody, and it just all fell into place. I had to really put in the time. And I was like, give me 3 years, give me 2 or 3 years. Like, I promised. And it did. And I was like, and I'm here. And now I'm, around. And now and through all that time, it gave me a lot of freedom financially for us to, do fun stuff and time. Because it goes
and setting an example for your kids. Like, look what I built. There was nothing, and then there was this thing that I created. I created you, but look at this business that I created that now gives us this financial freedom.
It does, and it's been amazing. And my husband has his own business too. And I also didn't know this as we were doing it, but taught my daughter, said, guess what? Your dad can make your lunch. He can make your dinner. He can do all the things. Maybe it's not the same way as me, but it's different. And they have expectations of that in a partner. And same with my son. He sees that, hey, it goes both ways. And that, I feel very fortunate that I've been able to show that to my daughters, because we've been able to give them a good example of how we can be partners. And hey, sometimes I'm like, you got to take it this morning. We need help. We do what we can so that we're working together for them. But my daughters understand that you can have a family. You can be successful and be married. Do all these things now. Does it always look beautiful? No. Right? Yeah. But then always, but hey, that's all right. That's all right.
That's life. That's life. I know. Anyway. I'm in it. So I hear you. I hear you.
And I do think that's so important for women to hear, because we don't have to do it all. We just do. We got to make those choices, right? And what do I got to do? What do I have to do today? What do I want to do?
Yeah. And I think just knowing we have the choice and the option to make the choice, that's everything.
Agreed. Yes.
All right. Well, I'd love.
Sorry.
No. It's okay. We can pause and
then. Right. That's what I've got to do. A bunch of dogs. If the kids leave, we've accumulated more dogs.
Oh, I know. We only have the one right now, and I'm like, and I work from home mostly, and sometimes I'm just like, I'm gonna just leave you in the backyard for like an hour and then he's so cute. I'm like, okay, all right, we'll cut that out. All right. So I'd love to hear about the book. So you have all this going on. You're building a business. You're, raising kiddos. What inspired you to write not one, but you have 4 or 5 books now? Is the 5th one out?
No, we are working on that right now. It's done, and we're
nice.
We're working on that, and then I have the idea for the next one, which is going to be really exciting. But this one, there are a couple of things. One, I think that. Well, number one, it's a great marketing tool, right? When you can give value and educate people. And in the law and in what we're doing, right, we're talking to people every day. And I thought you answer a lot of the same questions. And you're like, here, can I give you something that might help? Yeah. Because it can answer the questions, and it's something you can do privately and get that information. for yourself. So that's amazing, right? Because I believe in education. I love education, and I want to provide those resources for our clients. So that is the original thing that caused me to write that, because it's good information, and I'm fortunate, I believe, that I can communicate in a way to to non-lawyers. It's intimidating. It's intimidating for our clients. They're like, I don't know these words. Don't talk about this fancy stuff that I don't understand. So to deliver it in a way that they understand is very important. Because then they can
and that's a skill set, by the way, that I think a lot of lawyers do not have. I think a lot of lawyers just want to sound smart, and they think that that's going to help their client, when in fact they just need it explained to them in a very, in a layperson's manner, because it's not they might be really great at what they do, but it's not their wheelhouse.
Yeah. And it's that's part of, and I think I got, that's just a lot of who I am, but doing a lot of criminal work, picking jury, you've got to relate to people, to everyday people, and understand how to communicate with them. So I think that helps a lot in that. So that's what started it. And then it's now, my original divorce book is probably 10 years old, but so it's time to update it, but give it a little more meat. So that's the one that's going to come out in the beginning of the year. I'm still working through the title. So that one is going to be about divorce, but the phases of it and how you can be best prepared for that. Because I think that's what women want to know. And that one isn't really specific to Florida. Like, there is hey, this is how you address it in Florida. But a lot of the concepts and the mindset that you need to be successful through your divorce, that doesn't matter where you are. And those are a lot of it that I feel has the ability to help a lot of women. There isn't really anything out there like that. So that's so good. And then as a teaser, but this will be the end of 2026 or 2027 will be, I'm starting to research, because something that's fascinating to me as a divorce attorney is what does make marriages work. So I'm starting to research that. I've been married almost 25 years. My parents were both divorced on the side. My husband's, but ours works. And what did we learn? We learned something. We obviously learned, and we've implemented it. And I want to know for my daughters, because my daughter's like, Mom, you're the divorce attorney, and you're the only one in our family who has never been divorced. And so maybe really think about it. So that is something that I think we'd all like to know too. So I'm working through that, a lot of research. It's a different type of book, but I'm super excited to begin that project. But we got to launch the next one, which will be really about women winning divorce, which is the name of the podcast. But, because I believe you can win. I don't think you don't have to make someone lose for you to win.
Yeah. It's so, I can't wait to read both of those books, but the next one, that sounds, I've always been fascinated by that topic as well. So very, very, very cool. It's so cool because when I was a young lawyer, I always dreamed, I'm like, where are all the multi-passionate, multifaceted lawyers out there? So to get to sit down and have conversations with people like you, Heather, it's just I wish I could go back to third year associate Lauren and say, they're out there. You will find them, and you're not alone in the fact that you have many interests beyond just the one thing. It's all related, right? But it's beyond the one thing, which leads me to, how did you become a certified yoga instructor? What was the journey to that?
I have been practicing yoga for many years, and it was something that was just very fulfilling to me. Helped clear my mind, right? And the hot yoga, all I'm thinking about is the next pose and breathing, and that is just, to me, helped me through a lot of this building the practice. And so as probably, everybody, you're just I think I need a challenge. I just was feeling I just need something to do. And I said, let me take the 200-hour yoga instructor course, because it's a challenge, and I want to challenge myself in a different way. So I did it. And I have not really been teaching very much at all now. It was the process that was wonderful, because I'm learning, and pushing myself physically as well as learning, which is it's healthy for me. It was really healthy for me, and I met so many cool people, and I I run the firm. Like I've got that like area where I'm in charge, I'm the boss, and here I got to start at the very beginning. I'm just a student, and nobody cares who I am. They don't care what kind of lawyer I am. Like, are you going to give me a good workout in the yoga class or whatever? And I was like, wow, that is healthy for me, right? It's really fun to just step into that and be that person. And I loved every bit of it. I love school. I've always loved to learn. I love school.
Me too.
Right. And I had a whole career before I was even a lawyer. Like, and my mom's like, no, you got to get out of school. Right. I was like, you're right. Done. Law school. So, but I think that curiosity and that, doing new things keeps our mind active and my spirit, my soul, it's just good. So that is really what inspired me to do that. And I was nervous. I was like, okay, I'm just going to go do this. And it was great. And I really enjoyed it. And it was, 5 months, every other weekend or whatnot, but it was great. It was such a joy. I would do it again. It was just the journey. Sometimes it's the journey to then achieve it. It's just like really what it's all about.
Yeah. I love it. It's on my agenda, not right now, but at some point. Yoga is a big part of my life. It's a big part of Legal and Wealthy, and finding yoga and mindfulness and meditation absolutely made me a better attorney. So I definitely recommend everyone find their practice, whatever it is that helps them thrive, in the law. Wow, you're so cool, Heather. So cool. This has been so much fun. I'm so inspired. I love having these conversations, and this was just really, truly such a treat. I'm sure everyone's going to want to connect with you and find out more about you. Where can the listeners connect with you?
So we are all across social media, and so there's Florida Women's Law Group, and you can find us. That's our website. And working on promoting myself. So we've got the Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, Twitter or X. I don't know. I'm terrible. I show my age. For the firm, but also for myself, Heather Quick. Because we're really working to maybe create another platform. Because what you're doing, Lauren, is so inspiring to me. Because we have this whole generation of lawyers coming up, and obviously I am just really interested in helping young women know, be the best that you can be, and you can do it. You can be a great lawyer and a mom and a spouse. If those are the things you want to do, don't think it's not available to you. It's just maneuvering, right? Finding the harmony in it.
Finding the harmony in it, 100%. Well, I'll be on the lookout for that, because you truly, truly are inspiring. And we'll put all of that information in the show notes as well. Thank you, Heather, for coming on today. I'm all jazzed up and ready to go about my day now. So thank you for the good vibes. Thank you for all the inspiration. And thank you to everyone for listening to another episode of Legal and Wealthy. Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to Legal and Wealthy. If today's episode sparked something in you, take it one step further. Share it, leave a review, or come connect with me inside the Legal and Wealthy community. Remember, wealth isn't just about the numbers. It's about how you lead, how you live, and how you build beyond the billable. You already have what it takes to create real freedom and wealth. I'm just here to help you claim it.